Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. It is Lunch and Learn Wednesday, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Today, we're going to talk about 10 tips to go from being a full time employee to being a full time entrepreneur. Um, I'm super excited to share these tips that hopefully will give you some ideas on how you can make your transition run a little bit smoother. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Anza Goodbar. I'm the founder and CEO of Audientum. I am a business development coach and strategist. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've owned three 8-figure businesses over the past 12 years. I'm a 7 times best-selling author on Amazon as well. So let's just cut to it. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about how to shift your mindset, how to set boundaries, how to focus on leadership, how to create a business plan. That's going to be the biggest chunk of today. Set up your business legally, build an emergency fund, how to set up a business budget and use proper software, how to start generating money before you quit your full-time job, how to build a team, how to set up a business budget and software, which I already said. So sorry, I had some extra ones in there. So that's going to pretty much fill our time today. So let's talk about your mindset shift. There's a big difference between having an employee and having an entrepreneurial mindset. And what I would encourage you to do is start thinking like a one percenter. Well, what is a one percenter? A one percenter is the 1% of our population who make the most money. They think and act and show up very differently than the other 99%. So what I'd like you to do is to really think about how you think, how you take action, how you show up, and then look at somebody who is in the 1%. Look at an Elon Musk, look at a Sir Branson. I can't think of his first name now. You know who I'm talking about with Virgin Airlines and the Virgin brand. Think about Warren Buffett. Think about Bill Gates. Look at those people who are showing up. Think of Oprah Winfrey, who are truly out there making a difference. What do they do different? How do they think differently than you're thinking? Create a success routine. Most of those people, if you read their biographies, if you do any studying on them, they have a success routine. Most of them are up at excuse me, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're getting things done before everybody else's day begins because they know if they have focused time before they start experiencing any kind of interruptions or distractions, that they're going to accomplish all of their priorities for the day. Everything else is putting out fires, helping manage their team, doing other things that are in their purview, but they're making sure that they get the most important one or two things done in that time before everyone else's day begins. And then I would just encourage you to study other successful entrepreneurs, business people who are making an impact. There's all kinds of books that are out there that you can take a look at, people's journeys. I was reading about Mr. Ma from China. He is the owner of, I believe his company is Alibaba. And when he was first starting out, he didn't have a lot of letters behind his name. He didn't have any success going on. McDonald's had just come to China and he applied. He applied 3 times, and 3 times he was declined from being hired at McDonald's. Now he owns one of the largest businesses in the world. And so one percenters, when you think about that mindset, they don't look at failure as being a stopping point. They look at it as being part of the destination, right? A place to pivot, a place to learn, and being able to recover quickly. Because oftentimes the learning is in the experience, not necessarily in the outcome. And he continued to push forward and push forward. Like I said, there's lots of books out there that talk about the richest people in the world, the most successful entrepreneurs, those types of things. Look into some of those resources because you will be amazed at the things that you'll learn. The next thing is to take a look at your boundaries. Starting a business, running a business can be difficult. In fact, if you let it, it could take over your life. A lot of people that I work with have a business that runs their life, not a business that funds their life. Right. And so it's really important to be able to put together boundaries to be able to protect your time and make sure that you're able to fill your body, mind, and spirit, and that you're able to be energized so you can indeed impact your team. You can show up as the best version of yourself. You make better decisions when you are fully charged, right? Create work hours so you're creating a lifestyle. What is the lifestyle that you want? Is it a laptop lifestyle where you can pick up and go and travel? Is it a brick and mortar that you want to build and grow? You want to be able to train your people and your clients on how you want them to interact with you. It makes me think of Yelp. And we have a couple businesses that are on Yelp, and it doesn't matter what time of day that somebody may respond to us. Yelp expects us to respond within an hour. Otherwise, we get dinged on our response ratios, right? And it's like, you know what? I am a home-based business owner, and I don't think I should be up at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning checking my Yelp responses, right? I think that it's reasonable for me to wait until business hours start in order to respond to a question or a request for a quote. That's just me. My rating on Yelp may not always be stellar, but if you look into the times that people responded, I didn't respond in the middle of the night. That's a core value that I have. And so it's really important to be able to set those boundaries, decide what's important to you, and be able to hold to those boundaries that you're setting. Excuse me. And then hiring a coach or a mentor can help you with this. Some people think that they need to be all things to all people at all times of the day. And I promise you that you don't. People are going to have more respect for you if you set some boundaries and time constraints on your availability. As the CEO in your company that you're starting, right? You want to start thinking like a CEO. How available should I be to each and every person? How can I make my biggest impact? Where does my focus need to be? And being able to guard your time and your energy so you can take care of those priorities. Again, go back and look at those 1%ers. How are they guarding their time and their energy? How are they setting themselves up for getting the most productivity out of each and every day? The next thing is to focus on leadership. Leaders are learners, right? You want to be investing in your own personal development each and every day as a business owner, as you're looking from transitioning from, being that employee who is taking care of other people's priorities. You're now taking leadership in your life and in your business. You're setting the tone for what gets done. You're setting the guidelines. You're setting the priorities, right? You're creating that culture even before you bring people onto your team, because it all begins and ends with you as the leader in your business. You want to invest in learning new things. Take an inventory. Where do you need to be stronger? How can you build out your leadership skills so you'll be an effective leader when you bring on that team? How can you lead yourself better? Leadership begins with you. How can you show up in a better, more powerful, more empowered, and impactful way? And then as a leader, you want to be able to take risks. They might be calculated risks, they might be big risks. Only you can determine what your risk threshold is. But you want to be able to be willing to step beyond your comfort zone, take a risk that you believe will pay off to get you to the next level. And then, leaders don't get caught up on failure. You want to make sure that you're learning lessons through the experience, right? You might not have gotten the outcome that you wanted the first time out of the gate, but what did you learn? How can you apply that moving forward? That's really where the magic will happen in your business, when you can take those nuggets of knowledge that you're learning through experience and being able to apply them. For those of you who have followed me for any amount of time, you know that I am not a cookie cutter proponent, right? I think that everything needs to be customized. So if you've bought somebody's program, or you've taken someone's training course, or attended someone's seminar, don't take it as an end all be all for you. Take the parts that make sense and implement those things that work for you, and customize the growth plan that is going to benefit you based on your individual goals, your work preferences, and your work style. The next thing, and again, I told you we're going to spend a little bit more time on this, is creating a business plan. Many of the clients that I work with come to me without a business plan. They can't figure out why their business isn't growing. Well, a big part of it is they don't know where they want to go. They never wrote it down. They never identified what the target mark for success was going to be, or for growth. And so I would really like to encourage you, if you don't have one, or if you have one, but it needs to be updated, that you make that a priority, because this is truly the lifeline of your business. It's the blueprint for everything that you're going to do. And, honestly, drafting a business plan is the first thing that you're going to do that's really going to make your business feel legitimate, right? So here are some of the essentials that you should include into your business plan. The first thing is the executive summary. You'll write this at the end as a summary of both your plan and your business. If you're planning to apply for a loan or court investors, you're going to want to have a really strong executive summary. Even, doing a food truck, doing a coaching business, doing a pet washing mobile business, doing a lawn care service, whatever it might be, you want to be able to have a path set forward on what it is that you're wanting to accomplish and the timeline that you want to do it. So be prepared to work on your business story, right? This is part of building out your brand. What's your business's origin story? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? Why do you believe that this idea is really needed in the marketplace today? So the next part of that is creating a market analysis, right? Even if you're not into statistics, this is going to be an important step for you to take. Does your industry really have a need for the service or product that you're looking at providing? This is really crucial when it comes into the advertising phase of your business. You want to be able to talk to a pain point, and you want to be able to talk to how you can solve that through your product or service. So it's being very clear on who your target market is, how you're going to help them solve their most pressing needs. Look for consumer trends, see what's going on. Are you going into a red ocean? And by that, I mean, are you going into a market where there's a lot of competition, or are you creating your own new ocean, blue ocean, sorry, by being able to create a product or service that, makes you a category of one and makes you very unique in the marketplace? That is critical to know who you're looking for. Knowing what your buyer's motivation is equally important as you're going through and really honing in on the niche that you're serving, is really fully understanding how you need to talk to them. That all falls into what your branding is, and how you're going to stand out in the marketplace. So take all of those things into consideration. Create a company overview. This is really the meat. This is the heart of your business, right? It's not just what you do, but it's also how you do it. It's how things flow through your marketing analysis into the real life world of who you're talking to and how you're serving them. It helps you create a fuller understanding of what differentiates you in the marketplace. Think about how your business has all different parts to it, right? You're really defining what those parts are, and you're defining yourself and your business. So you're looking at, maybe you're approaching customer service in a different way, or maybe fulfillment in a different way. Maybe it's lead generation. Whatever it is, it's helping you to be able to pull out the what and start figuring out the how, right? Creating an organizational structure. Now, as you're starting out, you may not be starting out with a full team, right? You might be a bootstrap startup, but you want to think about what your organizational structure is going to be, because this is going to help you make decisions for how you build out your team later, right? Who's the first person that you need to bring on? What role do they need to fill? How does that complement the skills and experience that you have? And so you want to really make sure that you're clear on who you need to bring in and in the order. And this is going to be especially helpful if you're looking for investors or a loan. Those people are going to want to know, what is your organizational structure? How do things flow through your organization? Who are the key players that are going to be on your team? This is really, really important. It will also make you think about how you know what kind of organization you want to be set up as, as you move forward and as you're looking at the long-term game in your business plan. Um, so think about, again, whether you want to have full-time employees, whether you want to have contractors that you bring in. Maybe it's a combination of both, but take a look at that, because it's going to have insurance and benefit ramifications. And so think about that as we talk a little bit later. We're going to talk about budget and things. But those are some line items that you'll need to bring into play, maybe sooner rather than later. Um, so really take a look at, what do you need to get your business up and going, right? Can you do this all by yourself while you're still working a full-time job? Do you need to bring somebody on board to be able to handle the day-to-day? And we'll talk a little bit more about that later too. But you want to be able to document all of that on what you're doing, so you're clear with whatever insurance or tax liabilities, benefits, those types of things are necessary for you to be able to do. And then you want to look at your marketing and advertising. What plan do you have? How are you going to market? Are you going to run paid ads? Are you looking at using influencers in your marketing strategy? Are you going to be hosting classes? Are you using power partners? Are you looking at using affiliates? There's all different ways to get your business out there to advertise and to market. What's your strategy? What does that look like? How do those pieces move together? What funnels do you need to have in place? What do you need to have in place on the back end, right? So when those funnels start bringing in that barrage of business, that you're prepared and ready to set them up. So think about, where are your clients potentially? Are they on YouTube? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Are they on Pinterest? I mean, they could be anywhere. And part of your market research will be to figure those things out as well. So then the next thing is to really build out your product or service description. What are you selling? How is that serving them? What results can they get? One of the things that I really see people not do, either in their sales and marketing cycle or in their business plan, is to really look at the benefits and the results. Oftentimes they give an inclusion. This is what I'm selling, right? I'm selling a mastermind, for instance, if you're a coach, and you get 2 monthly calls, you get unlimited text access to me, you get to participate in the community inside of a private Facebook group, you get, special resources that I'll do from each training, you get accountability. All of those things are fine and dandy, but those are the vehicles that you're using to deliver. What are they really going to get? Right? They're going to get a sense of belonging. Um, they're going to, learn and grow these skills. They're going to be able to get real life feedback before they put their plan into action. Whatever those deliverables are, that's going to impact them. And again, you need to know what their buying motivation is in order to be able to create that languaging in your product descriptions, because this is all going to end up going in a landing page or a sales page, or it's going to be an offer from a webinar. So you want to make sure that you're hitting on the right keywords in order to convey the why they should buy from you, right? Financial analysis. This is really important. You want to look at, what are your startup costs? What kind of things do you need to have in place before you can actually start operating as a business? Some of those things might include business licensing, setting up your EIN number, registering with your state. Maybe it's creating a website, maybe it's getting business cards. What kind of things do you need to have in place before you can really hang out your shingle? And so you want to be able to have all of those costs written out. Maybe you're leasing a building or an office space. Do you need to have any build out done? What kind of equipment do you need to bring in? Maybe you're starting a restaurant and you need to go in and do a remodel and put in a professional kitchen. What does that mean? What do you need to have for venting? What do you need for the different cooking equipment? What is your menu going to be? Do you need to have big menu boards set up in there? What needs to happen in order to have the setup that you need to conduct your business? All of those costs need to be accounted for. And you want to think that, no matter how big or how small your business is, you want to be able to answer key organizational questions through your business plan. And you want to constantly be updating your business plan. You might do it monthly, you might do it quarterly. But as you change and grow, as your goals change and grow, as the market changes and you pivot, you want to continually update what's going on in your business. How are you going to get there? What's the plan? Because as a leader, you need to be able to take that plan and cast that vision to your team, and get their buy-in. And so everybody's participating and they're on the same sheet of music, right? You want everyone to be able to play the same song, and maybe they're playing different parts, but you're working for that same goal. So the next thing that you need to do before you can really start your business is setting up your business legally. And I referenced this in the business plan, but you want to file with the federal government and get your EIN number. That is going to go on everything. That's going to allow you to set up your business bank account. That's what is going to allow you to go in and set up your business at the state level and get all of those things registered. That is going to be what ties you to taxes at a federal, state, county, city level. And so you want to have that set up right away so you're not playing catch up trying to capture things that weren't in place before your business was set up. You want to be able to set up your website as part of getting your business set up and ready to go. You want a place to send people to. If you're thinking that you're going to need to have business credit for scaling down the line, you'll want to set up an account with Dun & Bradstreet. So as you're setting up terms with clients or with vendors, you can have your payments registered. So you're not relying on your personal credit score. You'll want to get everything separated as early as possible as you grow your business. Because, it just makes tax time a whole lot easier, and it's going to make your accountant and your bookkeeper really happy with you when you have all your T's crossed and I's dotted, right? So you want to be able to track all of those things, so you can also track your profitability and be totally up to date on your whole transaction history from the inception of your business, your startup money, and then, as you start creating sales and accepting money. You also may want to build an emergency fund. And, if you're not seeking investors or business partners and you're funding this entirely yourself, before you move from your job into full-time entrepreneurship, you want to create an emergency fund to handle any kinds of um, expenses maybe that you haven't thought of. And it might even be a good idea to say, you know what, I want to set aside 6 to 12 months of expenses for whatever you contribute to your home and also the things that you'll need to run your business. Set those up so you've got time when you leave your job to be able to move forward without having the added stress of, I've got to sell something today, I've got to sell this much this week, and otherwise I'm going to go out of business and I'm going to have to go back to this job. Take that pressure away from yourself. Make sure that you've got enough money that if plan A doesn't work out, you've got time to pivot into plan B without fear of having to close your doors. One of the biggest reasons that small businesses fail is they don't have enough capital to keep them up and running. Make sure that you're calculating your living expenses. Look forward for maintenance items or repairs that are going to need to be done and try and include those into your budget as well. And then I always recommend that you boost that number by 25% because there's always, always, always something that's going to come up that's going to surprise you, or there's going to be an opportunity to take advantage of that you want to be fully resourced to be able to jump on if it makes sense. The next thing is setting up your business budget and software. So there'll be things that you'll pay for annually, there'll be things that you'll pay for quarterly, there'll be things that you pay for monthly. And so you'll want to have that all charted out in a budget so you know when money is coming in and when money is leaving. And as you get into payroll, you're going to want to have payroll in there as well, so you know when to expect large expenditures and making sure that you're making your money work for you. um, I think it's really important to know the ebb and flow of your business's financial life, but it's also important to have somebody who can look at the numbers for you. Bookkeeping is most entrepreneurs' least favorite thing to do. And so having a bookkeeper who can help you track your income and expenses and turn things over to the accountant at the end of the year can be a great investment from the very start. At the very least, you might use a program like QuickBooks. They have several different tiers of service. One might be the perfect place for you to jump off into as a new startup entrepreneur, but you want to have some systems in place for you right away to ease having to go through a painful tax time later. So set up some folders to capture all of your receipts. QuickBooks, you can do that. You can take a picture and it will file it away with the transaction. And so that they can make it really easy for you. At the very, very least, you want to capture things on a spreadsheet, either in Excel or a Google Sheet, um, or something of the sort. So you have everything that's as accurate as possible for you to track. And then the next thing that you would want to do is start generating revenue before you leave your job. Now, I'm kind of talking as if you're choosing to leave your job at some point, right? For some people, especially during the pandemic, they didn't have the luxury of kind of planning ahead. They had to jump in because their job was eliminated or the business closed or what have you. But if you have the ability to start making sales before you leave your job, those sales can go into your emergency fund and start offsetting the costs that you have. You're reinvesting back into your business, you're getting ready to go. And that way, you're not depending on that new revenue for your current life expenses. So you want to make sure that you're setting money aside to take care of quarterly taxes as part of your plan for transitioning from full-time employee to full-time entrepreneur. And then you want to think about starting to build your team. What does your team look like? You already defined that in your business plan, right? But maybe you're not ready to fully start bringing in some of those power people, but you need someone to help you with day to day. So hiring a virtual assistant who can turn your tasks into completed check marks on your to-do list, that might be a great small investment that they can keep the ball moving forward. So you're still fully focused on your full time job and performing at your highest levels, right? While you start building energy and momentum into your business. Hire contractors who are can handle things outside of your wheelhouse. Maybe, logo designing or web design, graphic design, social media strategies, those things, maybe they're not in your wheelhouse. Maybe it makes sense to bring somebody in who can handle those things while you're gearing up to bring in your full-time person, whether it's a full-time employee or a contractor who's going to ultimately take over that role for you. It can be extremely exhausting to wear all of the hats and try and work full time at the same time. Fiverr can be an excellent source to go through to find some very expensive people. You can find copywriters, you can find logo designers, um, you can find people that help you with lead generation. I mean, you name it, you can find it on Fiverr, and that can be a really great resource. Another resource is bartering. Bartering can be a great way to trade services with people who could use your product or service, and you could use their product or service. So you don't have to come with cash to the table. But keep in mind that these services that you barter for are taxable at the market rate. So as you're doing it, don't think, oh, this is free for free. It really isn't. And you should document your barter in some form of a contract so you understand exactly what you're giving and what you're getting on both sides of that. And then you want to set up business software. What do you need to run your business? What kind of CRM do you need? What kind of email services do you need? What kind of other automations are going to help you in your business? We already talked about like a QuickBooks to help you manage the finances, your profitability, all of that kind of thing. But there's a lot of other things that you may need. Um, apps and regular software programs to make your business function. And, anytime you can go through and automate things, it's going to be a huge time saver for repetitious things. And so you want to take a look at what all of those things might be in your particular business. They're a little bit different for everybody. We all have different tools that we like to use. You may want to have different project management software, maybe something like a Trello or an Asana. IMAX seems to be a really popular tool right now, kind of like an all-in-one. You might choose to use something like a Kartra or a Kajabi, where you can create your landing pages, your funnels, your emails, your membership site, if that's something you're doing, courses that you might be doing all under one umbrella. Um, Maybe you are very tech savvy and using some more powerful tools out there might be what makes sense for you. But sit and really think on the things that you need to accomplish and what tools are going to be the right tools for you. So as you bring people in, you already have systems in place, and make sure that you're documenting them and you're creating your SOPs. Create a short little video, create it in writing, because you're going to have people who are going to retain things better in writing. Some people are going to be more visual. Create some checklists. Those can also be a great way to keep people on task and walking through the process. And, more than anything, you want to look at retention of your employees as your contractors for that matter as you're moving forward. And so you want to make sure that you're providing excellent training and putting all of the success tools in place on the front end, so when you do bring people in, you have consistent performance across the board. There's nothing questionable about how things are to get done, whether to be filed, who needs to approve things. All of those things need to be laid out. So these are the things that we covered today. We talked about shifting your mindset from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. We talked about setting up boundaries so you're creating a lifestyle and you're not creating a business that runs your life. We talked about how leadership starts with you and how to increase your leadership skills so you can motivate your team when you bring them into play. We talked a lot today about the different elements in your business plan and why they're important to you and how it's the lifeline of your business. It's the blueprint that helps you get from where you are now to where you want to be and the importance of updating that regularly. We talked about setting up your business legally, right? Your business isn't legit until you have set it up with your EIN, you've chosen what kind of business you want to be, a solo proprietorship, an LLC, et cetera, et cetera. We've talked about creating an emergency fund for you to be able to cover all of your expenses for 6 to 12 months. We've talked about creating a business budget and using some kind of software to check your profitability and to be able to capture all of your incoming and outgoing transactions. Um, we've talked about generating money before you actually leave your job so you can help build that emergency fund and have all of your costs covered and be ready to jump into your business. We've talked about how to set up your organization and the importance of that, especially if you're looking for business partners or investors. Being able to have a clear line of authority and how things break down among your different teams and team members. And then, setting up your business um, software, what you need in order to get the job done, be it project management, be it accounting software, um, sending out emails, creating graphics, whatever those programs and applications are that you may need, getting all of those pieces in place. So today we covered a lot of information in a very short amount of time. All of these things could be very beneficial to you, regardless of the stage that you're in, transitioning from being a full-time employee into being a full-time entrepreneur and business owner. A lot of these items are going to help you determine whether you're fully committed to being your own boss, being an entrepreneur, small business owner, or whether you're just interested in doing it. Are you willing to put all of the pieces in place to build a foundation for building a successful business? The more committed you are, the higher the degree of success is for you. So I just want to leave you with this final thought. Being interested is not enough to create success. You have to be willing to make sacrifices. You need to be willing to roll up your sleeves and, get down into the trenches. You need to be willing to give up some of your personal life for greater rewards down the road. Making that investment now is going to make a huge difference. And keep in mind that consistency compounds. So the more consistent you are in the way that you show up daily, the quicker and better the results that you'll produce will be. So what are some next steps that you can take after leaving the training here today? Well, first of all, if you don't have a business plan or if you haven't updated it recently, start there. Go in there and make a comprehensive plan so you know where you're at right now and where you want to be, and then you can start creating actionable steps. If you just don't know where to start, if you feel overwhelmed, I would say hire a coach. They can help you create the strategy and priorities and give you accountability to follow through and make those things happen. If you're not at that point yet, you might look at finding a mentor through the SCORE program. You can learn more about that through your local Chamber of Commerce. And then show up daily, right? Take consistent steps every day in your business, even when you don't feel like it. And that's another reason why having a VA or someone else on your team, that you can have them keep the ball moving forward. I'll tell you a quick story before we leave. Several years ago, gosh, it was probably 5 years ago, I got really sick. I had laryngitis that lasts for 6 weeks. As a business coach, I couldn't talk to any of my people. I had no voice. I didn't even have a whisper. My VA literally ran my business. She kept things moving forward as far as making sure the blogs were out, posting social media, getting newsletters out, all of the behind the scenes things that I could not get done to keep my business moving forward. A big part of why I'm still in business today is because I had a team to support me. So don't feel like you have to do it all on your own. You don't. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? We can always do more together than we can alone. And that's why it's important for you to lay the right foundation and bring the right people into your team as early as possible to grow your business. Well, that's all I have for you today. Next week, we're going to talk about eliminate, automate, or delegate, and yes, even delete, in order to help you set your right priorities. So I hope you'll join me next week.